Welcome to the second episode of Best on Tour this week. I am Matt Pangrac, joined by Dave Rush from Best on Tour, where we break down what happened on and off the water this week in professional bass fishing. And Dave, we had an incredibly busy week all across the country at all levels of bass fishing.
If you are a fan of tournament bass fishing, this was like Christmas for you this week, Matt.
It absolutely was. We'll kick things off right at the top with Drew Gill winning stop number 3 of the Bass Pro Tour on Lake Murray. He wins with 19 bass on the final day, weighing a total of 58 pounds, 2 ounces. Utilized his forward-facing sonar in the first period with a 4-inch minnow on a 1/4-ounce jig head, and then went to his self-designed Nico Rama worm in the later 2 periods with a nail weight around the docks, outlasted Jacob Wheeler. Those two finished the first third of the BPT season 1-2 in the Angler of the Year standings. Little interesting fact about Drew Gill. He has fished an MLF tournament now 6 consecutive weeks, starting with the last week in January with finishes of 7th, 10th, 11th, 2nd, 10th, and 1st, and has already amassed over $250,000 in earnings in the 2025 season.
Yeah, battle down to the wire there between Drew Gill and Jacob Wheeler, and Drew Gill coming out on top, getting his second career BPT win.
Jacob Wheeler finishes this year for the first 3, 3rd, 5th, and 2nd. Looks like he is on his way to potentially vying for another Angler of the Year championship. While it looked like a slugfest at the Bassmaster Open this past weekend, which took place on Kentucky Lake, it was the second Bassmaster Open of Division number 2. Yu Aoki had 66 pounds, 14 ounces, a mixed bag of largemouth and smallmouth bass. But that weight doesn't tell the whole story for this event, Dave.
No, absolutely not, Matt. 65 zeros on day 2 of the event, 18 double zeros. So 18 anglers not weighing a fish on 2 days of the Bassmaster Open there at Kentucky Lake. So feast or famine there at Kentucky Lake sounded pretty stingy for some anglers.
It was. This was the 3rd Open of the year between both divisions, and also the first Open where all 3 days were able to get in.
Yeah, and Yu Aoki getting his first win in only 11 Bassmaster events, and will be competing in the 2026 Bassmaster Classic if he finishes out his open season.
All right, let's go over to the NPFL, which kicked off on Santee Cooper. A weather delay for the first day of competition there, so they actually pushed it back. The entire field fished all 3 days. Some new faces on the NPFL this year. Jason Christie locks his spinnerbait in his hand for the majority of this event to the tune of 82 pounds, 12 ounces, well on the way to breaking the century mark if this had been a 4-day event. But some really cool stories that came out of this NPFL event, particularly one with BPT and NPFL angler Zach Burge.
Yeah, Zach Burge was at the BPT on Lake Murray competing there. Leaves the BPT on Lake Murray, no practice on Santee Cooper, only fishes 2 days of competition on Santee Cooper, finishes 35th place with 50 pounds, 11 ounces for 2 days, and cashes a check.
Continuing the theme of interesting scenarios throughout the week, another no information DQ also took place on the final day for the NPFL. Dave, what do you have about that?
Yeah, this one, the no information rule, I'm going to take it straight from the NPFL statement here. Skeeter Crosby disqualified on day 3 of the NPFL competition on Santee Cooper. Crosby asked a nearby camera boat if his friend Buck Mallory was catching them. Incident was captured on the live stream coverage of competition and brought to the attention of NPFL tournament director Sean Mulhall. Mahal's statement was he did not believe that Skeeter was trying to gain an advantage from the exchange, but soliciting information like that is a clear violation of our rules, and he's been disqualified from today's competition. His catches from the first 2 days are not impacted, and he remains eligible to earn prize money and Progressive Angler of the Year points for this event. So, little slip up there by Skeeter Crosby. No malicious intent was seen by the tournament director, and they move on and fish another day.
Let's move a little bit east where the MLF Toyota Series took place on Rayburn. Real nasty storm came through on one of the final days of practice. Did not seem to impact that, though. Another 3-day tournament that literally took 2 ounces less to win than it did on Santee Cooper. Riley Harris utilized a trio of 6 cents baits, a minnow, a shaky worm, and an umbrella rig to the tune of 82 pounds, 10 ounces, 30-pound bags across the board, though, Dave.
Yeah, 5 bags over 30 pounds at the event on Rayburn. Interestingly enough, there were 5 bags over 30 pounds on the NPFL event on Santee Cooper. Jason Christie responsible for 2 of those 30-pound bags.
Wow. All right, let's move to some industry news. Big week in professional bass fishing as the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame announced the class of 2025.
Yes, Bass Fishing Hall of Fame announced their class of inductees for 2025. Industry veteran Randy Hopper, Craig Lamb, and William Shakespeare Jr., who is responsible for the invention of the first level wind reel in the 1800s and the first fiberglass fishing rod in the 1940s. So 3 very deserving inductees there to the Bass Fishing Hall of Fame.
Become a better angler, get behind the scenes on the professional bass fishing tours, learn the business side of the fishing industry and how to get sponsorship. The Best on Tour newsletter brings you all these once a week, completely free. Sign up now. Where do they sign up, Dave?
bestontour.net.
That's all we got for this week. We'll see you next Tuesday for another edition of Best on Tour this week.